Only 3 people on that sidewalk knew who Bruce Lee was. The 5 drunk men throwing punches didn't. The restaurant owner screaming for help didn't. The 2 beat cops racing toward the scene didn't. The 40 bystanders watching from across Grant Avenue didn't recognize the small Chinese man walking out of a noodle shop with a bag of takeout in his hand. That was about to change. In the next 4 minutes, 5 violent men would learn the most painful lesson of their lives. And when the San Francisco police finally pushed through the crowd, they wouldn't believe what they were looking at. This is what really happened on the evening of September 14, 1970. This is the story the witnesses never stopped telling. San Francisco, California. Chinatown. September 14, 1970. Monday evening, 7:25 p.m. The sun is setting behind the Transamerica construction site on Montgomery Street, casting long orange shadows down Grant Avenue. Chinatown is alive. The smell of roast duck and fried garlic drifts from kitchen vents. Neon signs in Cantonese and English flicker on one by one. Paper lanterns sway in the cool Pacific breeze coming off the bay. Grant Avenue between Clay and Washington is packed. Tourists, families, restaurant workers on smoke breaks, old men playing Chinese chess on folding tables outside the Tong associations. This is the heart of San Francisco's Chinatown, the oldest Chinatown in North America, established 1848. 8 blocks of restaurants, herbal shops, tea houses and temples crammed between the financial district and North Beach. On a Monday evening in September, maybe 200 people are moving through this 2-block stretch. The energy is calm, routine. Working people finishing their day, heading home, picking up dinner. Nobody expects trouble. Nobody expects violence. Nobody expects to witness something they will describe to their grandchildren 50 years later. The trouble starts at the Golden Phoenix restaurant on the corner of Grant and Clay. Inside, a private party is wrapping up. A retirement dinner for a longshoreman named Gerald Big Jerry Kowalski. Big Jerry has worked the San Francisco docks for 31 years, loading ships, unloading cargo, breaking his back in the fog and the salt air since 1939. He's 54 years old, 6'1", 245 pounds of dock muscle gone soft around the middle but still powerful underneath. His hands are the size of dinner plates. His grip can crush a walnut without trying. He's been drinking since 4 p.m. Big Jerry isn't the problem. Big Jerry is a quiet man, a good man, a union man who showed up every morning and did his work. The problem is the 4 men sitting with him, his crew, his dock boys. They've been drinking since 3. Tommy Reardon, 32 years old, 6 feet even, 200 pounds, former amateur boxer, Golden Gloves semifinalist, San Francisco Division, 1962. Quick hands, bad temper. 3 assault charges, 2 dismissed, 1 resulting in 6 months probation. Tommy fights the way he works, hard, fast, and without much thinking. Next to Tommy is his younger brother Patrick, 28 years old, 5'11", 190 pounds. Wider than Tommy, thicker through the shoulders. Pat played linebacker at Lincoln High School, started all 4 years. Could have played college ball but chose the docks instead. Pat doesn't have Tommy's speed, but he has something worse. He doesn't stop. Once Pat starts swinging, he keeps swinging until someone is on the ground or someone pulls him off. Across the table is Denny Malone, 35 years old, 6'3", 220 pounds, the tallest of the group, long arms, long reach. Denny was a merchant marine before the docks, served 4 years on cargo ships across the Pacific. He's fought in port bars from Manila to Yokohama. Denny doesn't box. Denny brawls, headbutts, elbows, knees, whatever works. He's missing 2 teeth from a fight in Taipei. He considers them souvenirs. The last one is Victor Sands, 30 years old, 5'10", 185 pounds. The smallest of the group, but arguably the most dangerous. Victor grew up in the Mission District, learned to fight on the streets before he could read. Carries a knife in his boot, though he rarely needs it. Victor is fast, unpredictable, and doesn't care about rules or consequences. Victor has a record: assault, battery, drunk, and disorderly. He's been in the county lockup 4 times, never learned anything from it. 5 men. Combined weight, 1040 pounds. Average height, 6 feet. Average age, 36. Between them, over 100 years of combined physical labor, fighting experience, and dock-hardened toughness. They are not martial artists. They are not trained fighters in any formal sense. They are something more immediately dangerous. They are big, drunk, experienced street fighters who have never lost a bar fight in their lives because they fight together, as a pack, and they fight without mercy. By 7:15 p.m., the 5 men have consumed an estimated 14 beers, 6 shots of whiskey, and whatever Big Jerry was pouring from his flask. They are loud, they are stumbling, and they are looking for entertainment. The Golden Phoenix restaurant staff wants them gone. The party ended 30 minutes ago. Other diners are uncomfortable. The hostess has asked them twice to settle their bill. Tommy Reardon told her to mind her own business. At 7:20 p.m., they finally leave. They spill out onto Grant Avenue like a small avalanche. 5 large, drunk men taking up the entire sidewalk. Pedestrians step aside. An elderly Chinese couple moves into the street to avoid them. A mother pulls her child closer. This is 1970 San Francisco. Chinatown exists in an uneasy relationship with the neighborhoods around it. Racial tensions simmer just below the surface. The Longshoremen's Union is mostly white and Irish. Chinatown is Chinese. The docks are 8 blocks east. These worlds don't usually collide, but tonight they do. Tommy Reardon is the one who starts it. He's walking ahead of the group, weaving, and he bumps hard into a Chinese man carrying grocery bags. The bags spill. Oranges roll across the sidewalk. Bok choy scatters. The man bends down to pick up his groceries. Tommy doesn't apologize. He laughs. "Watch where you're going, Chinaman." The man says nothing, keeps picking up his groceries. His wife helps him. They don't make eye contact. They know better. This is not the first time. This is Chinatown in 1970. But Tommy isn't finished. He kicks one of the oranges down the sidewalk. His friends laugh. "Come on, say something. What's the matter? Don't speak English?" The grocery man's teenage son steps forward. He speaks English perfectly. He was born here. He says, "Please leave us alone. We don't want trouble." Tommy shoves him. The kid stumbles backward into a parked car. Now Denny Malone is interested. Now Patrick is stepping up. Now Victor is grinning. Big Jerry, to his credit, says nothing. He leans against a lamppost, watching, uncomfortable but too drunk to intervene. The teenage son stands up. His lip is bleeding from hitting the car. He doesn't run. His father pulls him back. "Please, let's go. Let's just go." But Tommy grabs the father's arm, holds him. "Where are you going?" We're not done talking. A crowd is forming. 20 people now, then 30, then 40. Chinatown residents, tourists, people coming out of restaurants to see what's happening. Nobody intervenes. 4 large drunk men against a Chinese family. The math is bad. The situation is dangerous. Someone runs inside the Golden Phoenix to call the police. The restaurant owner, Mr. Henry Lau, 62 years old, comes outside. He's known on Grant Avenue, respected. He asks the men to leave, politely, firmly. "Please, gentlemen, this is a family neighborhood. Take your business elsewhere." Denny Malone puts his hand on Mr. Lau's chest and pushes him backward into his own doorframe. The old man stumbles. His glasses fall off. "Mind your own business, old man. This is America." That's when a voice comes from 15 feet away. Calm, quiet, but it carries over the noise of the street like a blade cutting silk. That's enough. 2 words, spoken in English with a slight accent. Not loud, not aggressive, just clear, absolutely certain. Tommy Reardon turns toward the voice. Standing on the sidewalk outside Wong's hand-pulled noodle shop is a small Chinese man. He's holding a brown paper bag of takeout in his left hand. He's wearing dark slacks, a fitted black shirt, and sunglasses pushed up on his head. He is 5'7.5" tall. He weighs 138 pounds. Tommy looks at him, looks him up and down, sees a small man with a bag of noodles, another Chinese guy, another target. "Or what?" Tommy says, stepping toward him. "What are you going to do about it, little man?" The small man sets the bag of noodles down carefully on the sidewalk, gently, precisely, like he's placing a chess piece. He straightens up. His posture changes. Something shifts. The people closest to him feel it before they see it. An energy, a focus, a stillness that is somehow more threatening than any movement. I said, "That's enough. You're going to apologize to this family. You're going to apologize to this gentleman. And then you're going to leave." Tommy Reardon laughs. He's laughing because the idea is absurd. He's 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, a former Golden Gloves boxer, and this man who barely reaches his chin is telling him what to do. "Are you serious? Patrick, Denny, Victor, come here. This little guy wants to be a hero." The 4 men form a loose semicircle around the small man. Big Jerry stays back by the lamppost. He doesn't want any part of this. Something about the small man's eyes bothers him. They're not afraid, not even a little. In the crowd, exactly 3 people recognize who they're looking at. One is James Yim Lee, a martial artist and close friend. He arrived separately and was walking toward the noodle shop when the scene unfolded. He whispers to the woman next to him. They have no idea what they just did. Another is a young martial arts student named Robert Chen, 22, who trains at a school in Oakland. He recognizes the man from magazine photographs. His jaw drops. He grabs his friend's arm. That's Bruce Lee. The Bruce Lee. They're about to fight Bruce Lee. The third is Mr. Lau himself, the restaurant owner picking up his glasses from the sidewalk. He's seen Bruce Lee on television, the Green Hornet. He played Kato. Mr. Lau realizes what's happening and feels 2 things at once: fear for the small man's safety and something else, something like hope. 40 witnesses, 3 who know, 5 who are about to learn. Tommy Reardon makes the first move. He throws a right cross. A boxer's right cross. Technically sound. Hips rotate. Shoulder drives. Fist aimed straight at Bruce Lee's jaw. It's the punch that won Tommy 14 amateur fights. Fast for a big man. Powerful. It has ended confrontations before the other person knew what happened. Bruce Lee's head moves 4 inches to the right. The fist passes his left ear. He feels the wind of it. He doesn't step back, doesn't flinch, doesn't blink. Tommy's punch hits nothing but September air. Tommy is confused. He's never missed a right cross at this range. He resets, throws a left jab, then another right cross. 1-2 combination. Boxing fundamentals. The jab sets up the cross. Textbook. Bruce slips the jab by tilting his head left. The cross he parries with his right hand. Paksao. A slapping deflection. His palm redirects Tommy's fist 6 inches offline. Minimal contact. Minimal effort. Tommy's own momentum carries him forward, off balance. Patrick Reardon sees his brother stumble. He charges. Linebacker instinct. Head down, shoulders forward, arms wide. A tackle. The technique that worked every Friday night at Kezar Stadium. Close the distance, drive through the target, put him on the ground. Bruce pivots. A quarter turn. His body rotates like a door swinging open. Patrick rushes through the space where Bruce was standing and crashes into a newspaper rack. The metal rack collapses. Newspapers scatter across the sidewalk. Patrick hits the pavement hard. He'll have road rash on both palms and his right knee for 2 weeks. Denny Malone comes from Bruce's left side, long arms reaching, trying to grab, to clinch, to use his size advantage in close. His left hand reaches for Bruce's collar. Bruce intercepts with a lop sao, a grabbing hand technique. He seizes Denny's wrist, pulls it sharply downward and to the right, and simultaneously drives a straight punch, a jik chung chui, a Wing Chun centerline punch, directly into Denny's solar plexus. Not full power, perhaps 40%. Enough to fold Denny at the waist, enough to empty his lungs, enough to drop him to one knee on the sidewalk, gasping, eyes wide, the taste of whiskey and bile in his throat. 3 seconds. 3 men. 2 on the ground, 1 on his knees. The crowd has gone completely silent. 40 people just watched something impossible. 3 large men neutralized by someone who looks like he could be a math teacher, who moves like nothing they've ever seen, who hasn't even raised his voice. Victor Sands is the smartest of the 4 fighters and the most dangerous. He doesn't rush in. He circles. He's seen what happened to the others. He knows this isn't a normal man. He reaches toward his boot. Bruce sees it. The slight dip of the shoulder. The hand moving down. In Jeet Kune Do, Bruce's own martial system, the philosophy of interception means you attack the attack before it arrives. You don't wait. You don't react. You intercept. Bruce closes the distance in 1 step. His lead foot slides forward. A Bill G, a thrusting finger strike, stops 1 inch from Victor's throat. Victor freezes. His hand is on his boot. He hasn't drawn anything yet. But there are 2 fingers hovering at his windpipe, and the eyes behind those fingers are absolutely calm and absolutely serious. "Don't," Bruce says. 1 word. "Quiet." Victor's hand comes away from his boot. Empty. Bruce steps back, gives him space. Tommy Reardon is back on his feet. His pride is destroyed, but his anger isn't. He grabs an empty beer bottle from a windowsill, swings it at Bruce's head. Wide, telegraphed, desperate. Bruce ducks under the swing. The bottle passes over his head. As he rises, his right hand fires upward. A palm strike. Yung Chui. It connects with the bottle in Tommy's hand. The glass doesn't break. Tommy's grip does. The bottle flies out of his hand, arcs through the air, and shatters on the street 20 feet away. Tommy's hand goes numb. He's staring at his empty fingers, not understanding what just happened. Bruce steps into close range, Wing Chun distance, elbow range. His left hand finds Tommy's right wrist. Chi Sao sensitivity, sticking hands. He controls the arm. His right palm rises and stops dead, 1 inch from Tommy's nose, perfect placement. The heel of his palm aligned with the bridge of Tommy's nose, 1 inch of air between impact and bone. Tommy can feel the heat of Bruce's hand on his face. The fight is over. Has been over since it started. 4 men on the ground, stumbling, gasping, frozen. 1 small man standing in the middle of them, breathing normally, his shirt untouched, not a hair out of place. The entire sequence has taken less than 90 seconds. Patrick Reardon is sitting on the sidewalk next to the destroyed newspaper rack. Denny Malone is still on 1 knee, breathing in short, painful gasps. Victor Sands hasn't moved. His hand is at his side, away from his boot, eyes locked on Bruce like a man watching a rattlesnake. Big Jerry Kowalski pushes off the lamppost. He's the only one who hasn't been touched. He walks forward, slowly, hands visible. He looks at Bruce. He's sober now. Fear will do that. "We don't want any more trouble," Big Jerry says. His voice is quiet, respectful. Bruce looks at him, studies him. Then he turns to Tommy. "Apologize, to the family, to the restaurant owner, now." Tommy Reardon, Golden Gloves semi-finalist, 200 pounds, the man who has never backed down from anyone in 32 years of living. He looks at the Chinese family, the father with the spilled groceries, the teenage son with the split lip, the mother holding her son's arm. "I'm sorry," Tommy says. The words come out thick, broken. "I'm sorry." Patrick apologizes from the sidewalk. Denny nods, still unable to speak. Victor says nothing, but he's not looking at anyone anymore. That's when the police arrive. 2 officers, Patrolman William Driscoll and Frank Yamamoto, badge numbers 1847 and 2203. They've been dispatched from Central Station on Vallejo Street, 6 blocks away. Somebody called in a disturbance on Grant Avenue. Possible assault. Multiple parties. The officers push through the crowd of 40 people expecting to find a brawl. They find something else entirely. 4 large men in various states of defeat. One small man standing calmly in the center, a bag of noodles sitting untouched on the sidewalk. Officer Driscoll later tells the story at Central Station. Every cop in the precinct hears it. He says he walked into the scene and couldn't figure out what had happened. 4 big guys, 1 little guy, no visible injuries on the little guy. The big guys looked like they'd been through a car wash without the car. Officer Yamamoto, who is Japanese-American and grew up watching martial arts films, recognizes Bruce Lee immediately. He pulls Driscoll aside. "Do you know who that is?" "That's Bruce Lee, the actor. Kato from the Green Hornet. He's supposed to be the best martial artist alive." Driscoll looks at Bruce, looks at the 4 men, looks back at Bruce. "One guy?" "One guy." Mr. Lau gives a statement. The Chinese family gives a statement. Multiple witnesses confirm the longshoremen were the aggressors. Bruce Lee acted in defense of others. No charges against Bruce. Tommy Reardon and Denny Malone are cited for public intoxication and disorderly conduct. Victor Sands is patted down. The knife in his boot is confiscated. He's arrested for carrying a concealed weapon. While the officers process the scene, Bruce picks up his bag of noodles. He walks over to the Chinese family, checks on the teenage son's lip. It's superficial, won't need stitches. He speaks to the father in Cantonese. The father nods, almost bows. Bruce shakes his head. No bowing necessary. Mr. Lau approaches him. "Mr. Lee, thank you. What you did was..." Bruce smiles. "What I did was pick up my dinner." He holds up the bag of noodles. "They're getting cold." But Mr. Lau isn't finished. "Can I ask you something?" "Why? You could have walked away. You didn't know that family. Why did you step in?" Bruce considers the question. His answer is quiet, measured. Because a martial artist who watches injustice and does nothing is not a martial artist. He is a technician. He knows how to punch and kick. But he has learned nothing about why we train. Mr. Lau nods slowly. "What do you mean?" "We don't train to fight. We train so that we are able to protect. There is a difference. A man who trains only for himself becomes dangerous. A man who trains for others becomes necessary." Robert Chen, the young martial arts student, has been standing at the edge of the crowd the entire time. He approaches Bruce as the police wrap up. "Mr. Lee, I study martial arts. Wing Chun, actually. What I just saw, the way you moved, I've never seen anything like it. How do you do that?" Bruce looks at him. "How long have you been training?" 4 years. "And in 4 years, have you ever been in a real fight? Not sparring, not a tournament, a real situation where someone wanted to hurt you or someone else?" Robert shakes his head. "No, that's the difference. You train in a controlled environment. You practice techniques against cooperative partners. You follow rules. Tonight there were no rules, no referee, no points, no time limit. 5 men. 1 had a weapon. The sidewalk was uneven. The lighting was bad. A crowd was in the way. That is reality. Your training must prepare you for reality, not for the training hall." Robert nods. "How do I do that?" "Stop practicing what your teacher tells you and start discovering what works for you. Your body, your speed, your reach, your instincts. They are different from mine, different from your teacher's. The art must fit the artist, not the other way around." James Yim Lee, Bruce's friend, finally reaches him through the thinning crowd. He's carrying a second bag of takeout. Grinning. "I was coming to meet you for dinner. Looks like you started without me." Bruce laughs. 5 drunk guys, James. It's not what it looks like. "It looked like poetry," James says. "Violent, beautiful poetry." "No. It looked like 5 men who didn't understand something important." "What's that?" "That size is not strength. That anger is not power. That the smallest person on the street can be the most dangerous person on the street, not because he wants to hurt people, but because he has spent his entire life preparing for the moment when he must." The 2 men walk down Grant Avenue together, bags of noodles in hand. The crowd parts for them, not out of fear, out of something closer to reverence. They just watched the impossible. They just saw a man who weighs 138 pounds dismantle 5 men who outweighed him by 900 pounds combined. And he did it without anger, without cruelty, without a single wasted movement. Big Jerry Kowalski quits the docks 3 months later, moves to Sacramento, opens a hardware store, never talks about that night on Grant Avenue. When his grandchildren ask him about his retirement party, he changes the subject. Tommy Reardon stops fighting. Completely. Not because of the law, not because of the embarrassment, because of that 1 inch. The inch between Bruce Lee's palm and his nose. In that inch, Tommy understood something he'd never learned in the boxing ring. He wasn't tough. He'd never been tough. He'd been big, and he'd confused the two. There is a difference between a man who can throw a punch and a man who doesn't need to. Tommy Reardon, for the first time in his life, met the second kind. The 40 witnesses on Grant Avenue told the story. It spread through Chinatown like incense smoke, through the docks, through the police precinct, through martial arts schools across the Bay Area. Some dismissed it. Exaggeration, bar fight embellishment, 5 drunk guys, 1 sober guy, what do you expect? But those who were there knew. Those who saw Bruce Lee's hands move, who saw the stillness in his eyes, who felt the silence after it was over. They knew this was something else, something beyond fighting, something that made you reconsider what a human being is capable of. Officer Yamamoto requested a transfer to Chinatown's community policing unit the following month. He served there for 22 years. He kept a photograph of Bruce Lee on his desk. When rookies asked about it, he told them the story. Every time, the same ending. 1 guy. I still can't believe it. 1 guy. Bruce Lee never discussed the incident publicly. It wasn't his way. He didn't seek credit for protecting strangers. He didn't boast about defeating 5 men on a sidewalk. To Bruce, it wasn't a victory. It was an obligation. The natural consequence of a lifetime of preparation meeting a moment that required it. 40 witnesses, 3 who knew, 5 who learned, 2 officers who couldn't believe it, 1 bag of noodles that got cold, and 1 man who proved on a Monday evening on Grant Avenue that the measure of a martial artist is not how he fights, but why. September 14, 1970, San Francisco, Chinatown. The night Bruce Lee stopped a street fight with 2 words in 90 seconds. The night 5 men discovered that the smallest person on the sidewalk was the most dangerous person they'd ever meet. The night a bag of noodles sat untouched on a sidewalk while a legend did what legends do. Not for fame, not for glory. For the family picking up spilled groceries. For the old man whose glasses were knocked off. For every person who has ever been too small, too quiet, or too outnumbered to fight back. That is why we train. That is the lesson of Grant Avenue.